I haven't done a dating video in quite a while, so I figured I'd do a new one. See? A little update and a little help to the new subscribers. So like the title says, there are 5 things that you want to look for on a first date. I mean, frankly, it could be any number of things, but these 5 things have stood me in good stead insofar as paying attention to that first solo interaction between you and the girl that you're interested in, okay? Because that's what a first date is. It's the first time that you have a solo interaction with her, and she and you both know that, this is sort of like the prelude, the tryout phase to see if there's the possibility of something romantic going on between the two of you, okay? So these are 5 things. There are many more, I suppose, but these are the ones that have helped me out over the years. The first one, of course, is her grooming, how she's dressed up, how she looks, the package, okay? Because like on a first date, you tell her, let's meet at such and such a place, either, casually or very formally or however you ask her, right? But, if she knows that you guys are going to be meeting up specifically for a first date, whatsoever that first date may be, she's going to fix herself up. So pay attention to how she grooms herself on that first meeting. Pay attention to how she's dressed up, her nails, her hair, her makeup, all of that, okay? The more effort she's put into it, the more interested she is in you. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, and notice a lot of times women put shitloads of effort for very subtle effects. It's actually kind of hard. So it's smart of you to pay attention to other women in other situations. I mean, not just young women, but any woman, and professional women especially. Notice how they dress up. Okay, notice how they put on makeup when they're going for a big meeting. And that'll give you an idea, a sense of how much work and effort it takes to look good for a woman, okay? If she's looking really good and she's made the effort for you, you're aces, you're doing well, okay? Now, the second thing you gotta look for is her table manners, okay? Table manners, not necessarily maybe you didn't go to dinner with her, but her demeanor while she is with you, okay? Is she paying attention to her iPhone? Or is she paying attention to you? When she's eating with you, assuming you went to dinner someplace, right? Is she eating like a fucking pig? Okay? Because if she's eating like a pig, you want to leave right away, right? Well, unless you're into bestiality now, right? Yeah, because if you're not into bestiality, you don't want to be dating a fucking pig now, right? Right, okay? And same with the iPhone. If she's paying attention more to the iPhone than to you, then, what exactly is the fucking point of the fucking date? What is the point of seeing this woman ever again, right? Now, the first time she's glued to her iPhone, you can tease her a little bit about it, right? I mean, if she's like, all of a sudden she picks up the iPhone and starts like swiping through it or whatever the fuck, or answering some text, you can say something like, oh man, I didn't realize I was so boring, And if she laughs and puts it away, and sort of like, feels shamefaced about it, well, she's just, smartphone addicted. That's excusable, okay? But it's something that she's going to have to work on in the future, but it's excusable. But if she does it twice, 3 times, 4 times, she's not interested in you. Or she is such a narcissist, such an awful person that you don't want to be around her. Because, see, there's one thing with compulsively checking your iPhone, and there's something else when you are more interested in your iPhone than the person you're with, especially on a fucking first date. You see what I'm saying? Now, the third thing is sort of like related to the way she carries herself in the actual date, her table manners, right? And it's the way she treats others. And this is really, really fucking important, okay? Now, have you noticed certain girls, when they go to a restaurant or they're out and about here, there, whatever, how they treat waiters or how they treat the doorman or whatever, somebody who is unimportant to them? Focus on that. Pay attention to it. Don't make her realize that you're focusing on that. Don't make her realize that that is a clue for you, but make it be a clue for you. Because if she treats a waiter nicely, kindly, politely, saying thank you and please and what have you, that's a very good sign. Just as it's a very bad sign if she's dismissive or condescending or arrogant towards a person who is serving you. Because you see, the way somebody treats somebody unimportant to them is likely the way they actually are. And this goes not just for first dates, it goes for everything in life. See? So always pay attention to how somebody treats the unimportant people in their lives. You know, there are some YouTubers who treat their fans like shit, right? Well, what does that tell you? It tells you that they're probably awful people. Yeah. Because, you know, see, a fan, one individual fan out of thousands, for instance, yeah, that's, you know, they are quote unquote unimportant. But that's precisely why it matters. Because, see, an unimportant person and how you treat them reveals more about you than just about anything else. All the words you say, all the bullshit that you spout, that you say that, oh, you're kind to other people and that, you know, everybody deserves respect and all the rest of it. Well, that's all so much nice sounding bullshit. It's when the rubber meets the road. A girl you're with treats the waiter like shit or condescends to him or is rude to him, blow her off. Because if she's rude to the waiter and you date her, eventually she's gonna be rude to you. You see what I'm saying? Ditto with bad-mouthing people. You want to pay attention to that. You know, you're talking to some girl on the first date or whatever the fuck, right? And she's like bad-mouthing some mutual acquaintance that you two have, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe she's some girl in college and, you know, you share a class with her and she starts bad-mouthing the TA or the professor or whatever. But bad-mouthing him or the third person in a way that's nasty, okay? In a way that's like shitting on them. Because there's one thing, like for instance, you have a lousy professor. It's not a professor who's incompetent or a professor who is just unpleasant or whatever the fuck, right? And you both kind of like commiserate about this awful person. That's one thing, and that's perfectly acceptable. And in point of fact, it's a way for you to bond, right? You know, you have a shared enemy. That's always a good way to get into the good graces of a girl, right? But if she starts shitting on them, okay, starts saying, oh, I heard this or that about this guy, or you know that kind of gossipy, bad-mouthing shit, right? That's a bad sign. That's a sign that you don't want to be around her. Yeah, absolutely. You want to say, oh, you know, that's very nice and stuff, but the more she bad-mouths third people, the more likely she's going to wind up bad-mouthing you, okay? And that's something you want to keep an eye out for. And so it goes to the issue of treating people who are unimportant, okay? If she treats unimportant people rudely, arrogantly, she's eventually going to treat you that way. Ditto with bad-mouthing third parties who aren't around. Eventually, she'll do it to you. Now, the fourth thing, on my list at least, is if she pushes your hand away. Let me explain. You see, I have a lazy left eye, okay? And so when I speak to somebody and they're across from me, many times my eye starts to sort of like drift away because it gets bored, or I don't know, you know, my left eye has a mind of its own sometimes, right? And so that's why, you know, years ago when I was a teenager, when I was like 16 or 15 or something like that, whenever I'd go out on a date with a girl, I made sure that she was not across from me, but rather sitting right next to me, to my right. Yeah, because when she's sitting to my right, I have to turn to face her, right? And because I'm turning to face her, my right eye is focused on her, and my left eye cannot drift off and be lazy. My left eye has to focus on her as well, okay? And so that way, you know, I correct the problem of my lazy left eye, right? I don't show it to her. She doesn't notice it, because the thing is, see, when my lazy left eye starts to drift, it unnerves girls. It unnerves anybody, okay? Because it looks as if I'm paying attention to something else and not really paying attention to them. Sometimes people sort of like look over their shoulder wondering what the fuck I'm looking at, right? Because of my lazy left eye. It unnerves them, it bothers them, it undermines my social position. So that's why I compensated. I have them sitting on my right. But this created an opportunity for me, an opportunity for escalation. Yeah, because what happens is that, see, if the girl is sitting to my right, okay, my right hand is free, and her leg is going to be right next to my leg, right? And so what I do is quite natural. When I'm talking to her, you know, I will reach over and put my hand on her thigh, right above her knee, right? I talked about this in a previous video about dating. You can find it right here. You see, it's this old trick that I've developed, and it's just so fucking effective. See, effective in terms of escalating my interaction with a girl, effective in terms of making it clear that I'm interested in something physical with her, and raising the stakes in a way that's subtle and that works. This is what I do. I have her sitting to my right? She's sitting here. And her leg is right near here next to my leg. Her knee is, bumping next to my knee, right? Okay, so whenever I talk to her, I'm looking at her, and whenever I want to emphasize a point, I'll reach over and tap her thigh right above her knee. I start just a quick tap once, but like the way you would do it with a horse, okay? Firmly. I clap her knee firmly but not painfully, okay? It has to be that she feels my hand, and yet at the same time she is obviously not physically hurt by it. And also it has to be, the first one at least, has to be quick enough that it's almost like it didn't happen. It's sort of like touch and go, right? I clap her thigh right above her knee and then move the hand away, and I always keep my eye on her, and I'm telling her something. I'm talking about whatever the hell, and on the syllable, the emphasis syllable of whatever it is I'm saying, I say, like, for instance, I tell her, I went to the theater and guess what? And on the what, I clap her on the knee, firmly but not painfully, okay? And then remove the hand, and then I do that again, and I let my hand linger a little bit longer, and then withdraw. And I keep on escalating until finally I just have my hand on her thigh and just leave it there, okay? Now, this is a great technique because it's a great way to escalate, physically escalate the interaction, because you're intellectually talking, but physically you're doing something else, and you're establishing sort of like ownership on the girl. And, if she's into it, she's gonna leave that hand there. Oh yeah. Now see, what happens is that a lot of times a girl, on the first time you leave it there, or if you overstay your welcome, she'll sort of like brush it aside, right? She'll use her left hand and she'll be like glancing at you and just pushing it aside, right? But if she's into you, after a while she'll just leave it there. She won't mind, of course, because she's into you, okay? Because the first couple of times it's just sort of like, okay, just this fly swatting kind of thing, and sort of like trying to establish that, she's a chaste and good girl. But after a while, she'll get used to it, just like a horse. And, she'll be okay with it, yeah. And if she's into it, she'll just, probably put her own hand on top of yours, yeah. That pretty much happens. But if she really pushes it away, oh, then you know what's what. Yeah, because if she really pushes it away, it means that she's not interested in you. Not physically, at any rate. Oh, no. I mean, it could be that she's like a Mormon girl or a good Catholic girl, and she's like not into the physical thing, right? But more often than not, it's just that she's not physically into you. Okay? And that's a good sign. It means that, you don't have to waste your time anymore because she is not physically into you. And, it's not going to happen. See, because this thing with the hand that I do, that I developed over the decades, actually, it works like a charm. See, it quickly tells me if the girl is physically interested in me. And if she's not going to let my hand linger on her thigh. She's going to push it away. And she'll establish a little bit of physical distance, to tell you the truth, to make it clear that she's not interested. And if that's the case, well then, end the date, because you're done. If she's into having your hand on her thigh, potentially she's interested in sleeping with you. If she's not interested in having your hand on her thigh, she's never going to want to sleep with you. So there's no reason to prolong the date. End it right then and there. You're done, okay? And of course, the fifth thing is politics. The fifth sign. And it's very simple. If she's into feminism, hardcore, or SJWism, hardcore, end the date, because there's no future. Yeah, because we're getting to a point of political polarization in our society, right? In the culture, it's becoming, us versus them. And people who are SJW, people who are hardcore feminists, women who are hardcore SJWs or feminists, right? They only are going to go with members of their tribe, yeah? And you, presumably, you're a sensible guy, you're a normal guy, you're not a soy boy queef huffer, right? Yeah, you know, she shows her true colors. She shows off that she's a feminist or an SJW. You walk away. You say, great meeting you. Let's end it now. And, you know, so long. And thanks for all the fish. Yeah, actually, it happened to me recently. I was dating this girl, or not, let me phrase that. It's not that I was dating this girl. I met this girl. And she was very attractive, just a very hot girl, yeah. And I took her to drinks at a fancy place, and we were hitting off. And I did the hand thing, and everything was working wonderfully, swimmingly, right? And all good. And then somehow the conversation turned to politics, and oh boy. It turned to politics, and you know, she was into this whole bullshit of white privilege, even though she was white, and she was just shitting on white people and men, and saying that men have created this patriarchy and are just shitting on women, blah blah blah, all this the typical SJW feminist bullshit, right? And yeah, I knew that we were done right away. I mean, I didn't really prompt her; it just came out. Okay, and she was clearly trying to ascertain if I was on the right side of the political divide that has engulfed all our culture, right? And of course, you guys know that I'm not. Oh yeah, and so, well, it didn't end very nicely. Oh God, no. The fact of the matter is, when I realized this, I just, I knew right then and there that I wanted to leave her, right? I just wanted to walk away. And in point of fact, I just sort of poked her a little bit because I knew that there was no future with this girl because she was hardcore. I poked her a little bit just to make sure that she really was hardcore. And she was. And yeah, I started just trolling her a little bit and asking for the bill. Yeah, I got the bill and paid it off as I'm trolling her. And as I'm trolling her, she realizes that I'm totally on the other side of the political spectrum. And she got fucking nasty. I mean, real, just, oh my goodness, it was unbelievable. Yeah, I thought this girl was well-bred, well-spoken, oh yeah, but as soon as she realized that I was on the other side of the political spectrum, she started just insulting me. She flipped me off before she walked away. Yeah. And I was sort of like stunned because even in that situation, even when I realized that I was never going to see this girl ever again, I maintained my composure, and I certainly didn't treat her disrespectfully. On the contrary, because I was rather worried, thinking to myself that if I said anything, any obscenity or anything even particularly aggressive, she might somehow flip this around and use it against me, and God knows what. I mean, maybe even call the fucking police, for crying out loud, because that's the kind of people they are. But at the end of this interaction, which was in a public place, we were having drinks at a hotel, right, at a hotel bar, right, with a lot of other people around, thank goodness. At the end of it, she flipped me off to the point where this couple next to me were like, "What the fuck happened?" I mean, they saw this, right? And they were sort of like shocked, and so was I, but it proves my point. If she's a feminist, an SJW, all bets are off. Don't waste your time with her, okay? Don't try to see if maybe you can, no, you won't be able to, okay? Take this from me. This is experience talking here. And that's the point of these videos. See, the point of these videos is that, I know more shit, not because I'm smarter than you, but because I've been around longer, okay? So take these 5 signs of what you should be looking for on a first date. Because understand ultimately what is a first date. A first date is a tryout. It's to see if you are attracted to one another and if you will fit together, okay? You don't have to agree with everything that the girl says. No, that's not the issue. The issue is whether your disagreements will create that delicious friction that you need for a healthy man-woman relationship. That's what's going on. So you want to be different enough, but not so different that it's just chaos.